I drove my rusty pickup to the local game store door. Starfield gleamed upon the shelf, couldn't wait no more. Todd Howard spun his stories of galaxies afar, but when I fired up that game, I didn't get too far. Oh, Todd, you sold me stardust, but gave me empty skies. Promised me the universe with all your alibis. I fell for all your stories, like I always do. Starfield left me wishing for a game that's true. They boasted endless planets, each one unique and new. But after planet number 3, I'd seen a deja vu. The critics didn't love it, gave it mediocre scores. Just another space misfire echoed across the boards. Oh, Todd, you sold me stardust, but gave me empty skies. Promised me the universe with all your alibis. I fell for all your stories, like I always do. Starfield left me wishing for a game that's true. I searched for epic battles, but the AI wouldn't fight. Characters were wooden and the dialogue was trite. Todd promised me the cosmos, but left me in the dust. Now I'm trading in this game, it's betrayed my trust. Oh, Todd, you weaved a fable of worlds beyond compare, but all I got were glitches and load screens everywhere. Still somehow I'm considering when the next game's not, 'cause hope's a stubborn thing, and I'll give it one more try. Oh, Todd, you sold me stardust, but gave me empty skies. Promised me the universe with all your alibis. I fell for all your stories, like I'll always do. Starfield left me wishing for a game that's true. Oh, Todd, you sold me stardust, but gave me empty skies. Promised me the universe with all your alibis. I fell for all your stories, like I always do. Starfield left me wishing for a game that's true.
It's true. All rise with me as we prepare for the Todd Howard appearance on this beautiful day. All rise, begin the hymn.
Infinitas donas mortalibus
Amen. Well, that was weird. How are you guys? Everybody doing good? Everybody feeling good? Glad to be here? Hopefully. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. In case you're wondering what the translation of the prayer is, yes, it is in Latin. I went to a classical school where instead of an actual language, we learned a dead language. But it's "O Todd Howard, master of stories, whose vision creates stars and worlds. In Starfield, your glorious work, you give endless galaxies to mortals. Through the astral paths you lead us, wandering among the stars and nebulae. Bethesda, your holy temple, where narrative and freedom are united, grant us, we pray, celestial travelers, that we may find strength in your worlds, explorers, heroes, and dreamers, forever beneath your starlight. Amen." Amen. In case, I don't know if I've ever revealed this. Have you guys ever wondered what's on the back of Todd's head? Have you ever wondered? No? Fair. Fair. I just noticed, I don't typically look at the back of Todd's head, tell you what, but apparently there's a sticker from when I got it, and enhance. The sticker describes him as life-size Todd Howard in parentheses casual pose.
Did you see that the Lego Batman devs lowered the needed specs for the game because of the RAM shortage? Do you accept more devs will need to actually optimize their games now? If so, is this the only good thing AI has done for us?
I personally don't think it's because of the RAM shortage. I think the idea that game was ever going to take 32 gigs of RAM was crazy. So I think they just got it running at a decent level. And then maybe they said, yeah, we're doing it to help you out because of the RAM shortage. If they said that, I haven't seen that quote, but the idea that a Lego game was going to take 32 gigs of RAM as a minimum spec was crazy. So I'm glad that they lowered it to 16. That's more reasonable for 2026, but I don't think it was probably because of anything AI related. I just think they optimized it. It's so short. Yeah, this is him fully standing. Life size too. Realistic. Accurate. Yeah. How are you guys? How are you guys? Everybody feeling good? Everybody good? You might be like, Luke, why are we doing a late stream? Well, I was initially just filming videos. I filmed like 2 videos today and a bunch of other smaller stuff I needed to get done. So I've been feeling good. And then I had an epiphany, or as my friend Caleb calls it, I had an apothecary. And I remembered that Todd was making an appearance somewhere. Sure was. He went on the Kind of Funny Games cast today, which is wild. They streamed it on YouTube. He went on for an hour, talked about a bunch of stuff, including Starfield and everything. And so I figured we would circle back and discuss it and talk about it. I'm just saying, Todd, if you ever want to come on, I'll put the cardboard cutout away and we can talk. Just saying, it could be fun. I would understand if you were like, hell no, but it would be cool. But this is what's happening. This is why we're here. Crimson Desert console optimization. We don't know details yet, but they are working on it. Sure are. Yeah, it is happening. Respect God, Howard. Yes, I'll do the whole intro spiel as we get into this, because I feel like there's often like a misunderstanding with Todd, a little bit of a misunderstanding. Do I have the candle lit? Oh, you missed the intro, my friend. If you rewind and then click live again and catch back up, watch the start of the stream because we did the whole intro ceremony. So yeah, we did that whole thing. It's lit and ready to go. I'm going to need to transfer the Todd Howard sticker to a new candle. Somebody said you should auction off the candle once it's fully burned through. You should auction it off for charity. I was like, that's a very nice sentiment. I don't know who would want to buy a burnt used candle for charity, but I don't know. Well, we'll probably just move the sticker. We'll probably just do that. Everybody move. Nightbot is gone AWOL. Oh, did he? What's he doing now? You said Starfield 2. No. Oh, what it is, dude. It's because you typed in Starfield 2 period. No, but there was no space. So it thought you were linking a website, which it deletes and bans. So it's because it was like starfield.no. It thought it was a website. That's why it deleted your message. Okay. It's not deleting Starfield messages. We're not censoring Starfield discourse. Can you imagine if I was like, no more, it's banned, banned, gone forever. Your opinion on RE9 leaks, whole game is leaked. Is the whole game leaked? If so, that's crazy. I haven't heard about that, but that's crazy if that's true. That's wild. Didn't know that. Okay, should we do this? New segment. Really the only segment we're doing because it is the day of Todd. Amen. Well, everybody, this was not on my to-do list because I was ill prepared and I frankly forgot this was happening. But Todd just went on the Kind of Funny Games cast, which, if you don't know, is like the biggest gaming podcast in the world, I believe. Todd said he listens to them regularly. It's Kind of Funny Games cast and Reddit are Todd's like main sources, he says in the opening segment of this. So we're gonna listen to it because he talks about like Starfield allegedly. He talks about Elder Scrolls 6, Fallout, organizing a big studio, so reorganization stuff, Fallout 76, the Fallout show. He discusses like all of the shadow drops and leak problems, all sorts of stuff. So we're gonna look through it. It's gonna be interesting. I'm excited to see it. Of course, you should go support Kind of Funny Games cast for making this happen. Not that they really need my shout out. They are like the biggest gaming podcast in the world, so props to them. But they did this, and you know, I think that this should be interesting. Most of their audience seems to be on podcast platforms. They just streamed this and it just ended, and they've got like, you know, 6,500 views on it. Todd, you come over here, baby. We'll get you more. You deserve more views, baby. You're Todd freaking Howard. I have a cardboard cutout of you. Does Jeff? Not Jeff. Greg? No. I bet, I'm willing to bet he doesn't own a single cardboard cutout or candle of you. And you're doing that? Really? Wow. We need the awkward Luke interview. Dude, if he ever came on the stream, I'm like a dog barking at cars. You know, I don't know what I would do if I got one. I just do things. That's the thing. If he showed up, I'd be like, hey, buddy. Hi. You know, like, what do I even do? Anyway, it's going to be interesting. I'm excited to hear what they talk about. And I think, you know, going into this, we do have to lay the groundwork. It's come to my attention that there's some exaggeration that's going on. I want to be clear about something just as we get into this and as I turn on the AC, because I can tell I'm going to get heated. There we go. Todd, we meme him a lot. Shocker, I know. We meme on him a lot, but he is a legend, okay? Mainly, like, most frustrations we have with BGS have been born out of his absence, okay? So a lot of our frustrations with the direction of BGS games has come as he's gotten less and less involved. There's like clear evidence, interviews from dozens of employees that have worked there, that when Todd works on something, it is better than when he doesn't work on something. The problem has been he's gotten so spread thin by doing Indiana Jones, by doing, of course, Starfield, the Fallout TV show, working on all the mobile games, working on the like 3 different studios they run. And as he's gotten more and more spread out, the quality has dropped. And that's just that's the problem. Okay. But Todd is a legend of the industry No doubt. We do meme about him overselling stuff, and I do think that is certainly a trait of him. I think at his core, he's a really good salesman as well as game designer for open world sandbox games. But that's what gets him in trouble, is the sales stuff, is that he kind of tends to overpromise a little bit, or he doesn't temper expectations. He just lets it go free, you know? And if there's a question where the answer is no, he tends to just not answer the question at all, which lets it spin up, you know, crazier and crazier. So it's going to be interesting. I am not expecting, as we go through this, a super hard-hitting interview. If you're expecting him to rail Todd about something like union busting or something, like I wouldn't expect that. Plus I don't think they've done that. I think actually BGS Montreal, I think it is, they actually have a union form, so I guess that wouldn't even make sense. But I'm not expecting any sort of crazy hard-hitting journalism. This, I think, is certainly a conversation between friends primarily. But let's see. I had it muted, sorry. Sorry, I still have the Todd Howard prayer playing. Sorry. Yes, we have a Todd Howard prayer. It's a whole thing. Don't worry about it. If you missed the stream live and you're just watching the clip, you missed out. Anyway, continuing. Here we go.
Welcome to the Kinda Funny Games cast for Wednesday, February 18th. 2026. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside studio head and creative director Bethesda, Todd Howard. Hello, Todd.
Oh, hey, how you doing? Great to see you.
It's good to see you after you dodged me at DICE.
I did. That is completely my fault. We always catch up at DICE.
An annual tradition to get a cup of coffee at DICE. An annual tradition. And you left me hanging because I didn't hit you up until the week of. That was my mistake. That was my problem.
I think
this is one thing you will see, and it's why you get kind of conflicting. There's a conflicting dynamic within the industry. Like, there's people that are framed as journalists, and then there's people that are like influencers, and then there's people in the middle. And personally, it seems to me like Greg is in the middle, where he used to be like games journalist. I think he worked at IGN, but like he's not quite a like YouTuber, streamer, influencer type. So he's somewhere in the middle, and that leads to this weird positioning where people expect journalism standards, but in reality, I think his interactions with a lot of people are much more content creator focused, where it's like, just go get a cup of coffee and talk about games. And I think that's where a lot of the disconnect comes from, where people are expecting a certain, you know, approach, and then it's much more just vibes. You know,
it's better to do it this way. And
where's the damn candle? Don't you doubt me. It's burning. It's right there. Don't you doubt me.
In front of everybody else.
In front of everyone. Yeah, I saw the chat earlier. Was like, is this live? This is live. Super chatting on youtube.com/kindafunnygames. Ask Todd your questions. Of course, remember, we couldn't do this without our Patreon producers at patreon.com/kindafunny. Carl Jacobs, Omega Buster, Delaney the Psalm Twining. Thank you so much. Todd, how are you?
I'm awesome. It was a great DICE. It's been a crazy year for us. So just a few things going on. Just wrapped the Fallout Season 2. We're writing Season 3. Good. We had Oblivion Remastered the past year. All the Fallout 76 updates. We're working on Starfield content. And, of course, the big games we have coming in the future. Indiana Jones. So, you know, this or that.
Just a few, just little things. You start off, of course, walking out on a Nintendo Partner Direct this time to announce all those games coming to Nintendo Switch 2. No big deal there. And then you jump into DICE and you get going. But yeah, I think that's the thing. It's so great for you to come back. Thank you so much. Of course, you, April 29th.
This is the show I listen to. I tell you that.
I know you do.
Like, this, we use Discord. Everybody know you use Discord for
this?
They do,
yeah.
Okay, so I have Discord on my work computer here at the office. It's the only thing I've ever used it for. So
Confirmed, Todd doesn't have friends. Oh, Todd, I'm sorry. He only uses Discord for interviews with Kinda Funny Games. He doesn't play games with friends. He doesn't Discord it with friends. That's so sad. That's so sad. Everyone feel sad for Todd. Feel sad for Todd. That's tragic. That's tragic. I don't blame him. If he was on Discord and that leaked, bro, it would be game over.
Every time I boot my computer, Discord comes up and I'm like, I don't think I'm on Kinda Funny. And then
you can uninstall. Yeah, you haven't been on since April 29th, 2024.
Like, well, now I have a reason.
Well, you see, usually when I call people on the show, I just call them on their phone. So I'll just start doing that for you. You can
do that. You have mine.
I know. Well, you know, I don't want to bug you all the
abuse
time.
it, so I appreciate you.
Well, that's the thing. You know, once the number's given out, you understand it's a red light. Yeah, here we go. It's go time. Anytime you get a phone call from me in the middle of the day, you're going to be live on the show. But yeah, I have so many questions to ask you on the record, I guess, which is why it makes more sense for you to return. Again, you ushered in Kind of Funny Gamescast as a daily show on April 29th, 2024. I can't thank you enough for that. We have been steamrolling ever since with daily content, the #1 and #2 video game daily podcast in the world, all because of you, Todd Howard. But I digress.
I think you had something to do with it.
Of course, let's get to the topic of the show. Todd. It's Todd Howard. So many places to start, Todd. And I think...
Sorry, it's a slow build. We're getting there. Stay strong, friends. We're getting there.
The only logical place to start is, of course, Starfield. I know some, Elder Scrolls 6, when the Fallout remastered rumors, all the, we'll get to that. All right, we'll get to that, everybody watching live and watching later. When you get a show, you're allowed to ask about your favorite game. Because I was offended this morning when I went to the No Sodium Starfield subreddit, which I go to frequently, if not daily. I'm there lurking and looking. Agent Shane said, of course, watch him talk about everything but Starfield.
Caleb's92 donated $10
Fair
for
opinion.
Super Chat.
Fair question.
Todd was already living in the future and uses TeamSpeak so Discord doesn't leak his ID.
Oh.
Praise Todd and his future insight.
Praise Todd. I liked what somebody else said where they were like, nah, he's using Skype because it's BGS. And of course, they'd be using the old thing. What was pre-Skype even? He's just using Yahoo IM. That's all he does. That would be funny. I remember my grandma using Yahoo IMs like to communicate with my mom. That's a throwback. Anyway, the Starfield like subreddit being referenced, that's funny. And
then of course on that thread I said I am one of you. I will get a Starfield answers or else. Todd, what the hell is going on with Starfield? Because even before I let you answer.
So wait, I thought he was joking. No Sodium Starfield. It's literally a Discord that, wait, I thought he was joking. Is this a real subreddit? I thought he was joking. I thought he was just like joking that that's what he calls the Starfield subreddit. Did they like literally move subreddits because the other one was too toxic? No way. Dude, that's literally... Come discuss your adventures through the cosmos with fellow Redditors. Do not be afraid to express constructive criticism about the game. The only thing we don't allow here is toxicity. For other game discussion besides Starfield, join our general low sodium subreddit at the Goblin Hub. I didn't know. Toxicity, don't engage in annoying arguments. Okay, I don't know what that means. That's freaking funny, dude. I did not know this was a thing. I will say the official Starfield subreddit is... Doesn't surprise me they don't go over there. There's a lot of people frustrated. That's freaking funny. I thought he was joking, but he's real. Okay.
I have never had a more wackadoo preview than what y'all let me do for Starfield's upcoming content.
Remember I told you guys this happened? A bunch of people were like, Luke, I don't know. Luke doesn't have like a super strong track record because he doesn't leak stuff. So like, who knows if he has the track record? I told you guys this happened back in November, that a bunch of people who are considered friends of Bethesda were invited out to a digital preview event, and they got to see Starfield running. And remember what I said. I'm going to show you in case you doubt me. Never doubt me again, okay? I don't know how to do specific searches like this. Let me try it this way. Let me find my tweet. No, not that. I'm close. Where is it? I don't see it. I don't see it. I'm gonna have to go back and actually scroll through. Dang it. Okay, bear with me. I'm scrolling. I've got to find the actual like post from December on the game. Please hold. Okay. Here it is. Sorry, I found it. I've had a few people, this is December 17th. I've had a few people reach out who claim to have either been present at the event or helped put it on. They're consistent in the following ways. Temper expectations. Things are being improved, but from what I'm hearing, this probably isn't a Cyberpunk 2.0 scale update. BGS do have a number of improvements coming that are specifically aimed at the most common complaints like load screens. These have been data mined too, but you should not expect them to have magically changed what the game is. The other interesting thing I've heard from two people is that the update/DLC will not be coming when we've assumed it all, when we've all assumed they are. It's later. Regardless, improvements are improvements and they deserve credit for making the game better, but we will have to see what the update is actually like when it drops, considering the recent track record of updates and breaking games with them is far from impressive. And so, like, Jez also reaffirmed this. Some tell me not to expect Cyberpunk 2.0, like you said. Guess we'll find out soon. So, the clear, like, statements were it's coming later. Everybody thought it was going to be coming at probably in, like, January as part of, like, the Xbox showcase. That didn't happen. It was coming later. And people thought, oh, it's going to be Starfield 2.0. How many times have we heard people say Starfield 2.0? This is what Todd had to say about that.
Where you let me go to a thing with a bunch of other creators and we were told you're not allowed to report on this or talk about this, but you're allowed to say you saw it. And so now for like the last 4 months, every so often one of them says that, people flip out thinking it's Starfield 2.0 and what's going, where are we, what's going on with Starfield?
No, first of all, thanks for the Reddit comment there. I'm a big Redditor, so I do read Reddit a lot. It's my...
Oh my God. Todd's a big Redditor. We lost another one.
sort of favorite signal to noise, platform as it comes to that stuff. And
I'm sorry. Reddit is very good for some things, but he just said it's really good. It's his best like signal to noise place to find, I guess, what they need to be focused on. You know what? modern BGS is making a lot of sense. Like Reddit is the ultimate echo chamber creator. Like it is built to build echo chambers. And so this is explaining a lot. Okay.
And yeah, look, obviously we've been working on a lot of Starfield content. We haven't talked about it yet because, the end of last year too is particularly for us, we sort of periods of time where we focus on IPs or franchises, and Fallout really obviously dominated the fall and a little bit in it early this year.
True.
You've seen it. And I can tell everybody we're going to be talking about it, really soon. We're moving into a phase where we're ready to talk about Starfield.
Okay.
And really show that in the right way and what's coming to the game. We've been doing a lot of work that we like a lot. It is not Starfield 2.0. I've seen some of that. So I don't, for expectation setting, I think it's the kind of thing where if you love Starfield, we think you're going to love this. It's, updates and things that, change the game, not in an isolated way, but sort of, meta.
Sure.
Using outer space and things in ways that we haven't. But look, if Starfield's something that, didn't connect with you right away, or you bounced off it or found it boring in places, I don't think this is going to change that fundamentally. But if you're someone who loves Starfield, like you, Greg, we think it's really, really, we're really, really happy with it. We like it a lot. And we have such a big audience on the game. It's really like a game.
Hold on, I'll get to what he's about to say in a second because it's interesting. Told you. I don't typically. Oh, am I kidding? I love to gloat. I told you. Okay, like this, I honestly don't know what the idea was, like what they were trying to achieve, but they did this event. Chill, Todd. Chill. Daddy, chill. They did this event in November. My understanding is it was like November 15th, and they invited people like Greg and a few other people, and a lot of the paid modder crew. They invited them out. They did a like Zoom call kind of thing. I'm not sure if it was Zoom specifically, but they did a meeting online. And they were shown a bunch of the updates they had done. They were kind of given the elevator pitch of what their vision is for the future of Starfield. And that was it. Really strange that they did it months ago and they were not allowed to share it. They were allowed to say that they saw something, but that was it. I don't know what the strategy was behind that, honestly. Maybe they're just trying to gauge feedback. My personal expectation is that they wanted to share it with the modding crew so they could start building mods using and framed with these improvements. I think that's probably why it is. I don't know why somebody like Greg would need to be there, but maybe it's just because he's friendly to Todd and to the studio and that's why he was invited. I don't know. The whole thing is weird. I don't understand it, to be fair.
At Guts of Rivia donated 50 United Arab Emirates dirhams through Super Chat.
Thank you.
Do you think Crimson Desert is gonna cause the journos to pull a BG3 or Silk Song and say, don't expect games like this, guys? Please don't raise your standards.
If it does everything they say and have shown it does, then yeah, that's definitely going to happen. People are going to be like, you can't expect normal AAA games to do this, especially if it doesn't have an in-game store day one. You better believe there's going to be crash outs, dude. Ubisoft going, we cannot do this. We cannot have these games without microtransactions. It's going to be, the crash out's going to be massive for sure. Thank you,
Cinephile donated
Highlander.
20
Thank you.
euros through Super Chat.
Thank you,
Luke,
son of a
I'm a huge
Cinephile.
fan. I literally just uploaded a video I spent a month on about Bethesda and was going to reach out, and this feels like the perfect time.
Oh.
I would love if you could give it a watch. I promise it's worth it.
Well, thank you for letting me know. Tag me, because obviously we got our docket filled, but tag me on Twitter with a link to it, and that way I can bookmark it and check it out, see if it would work for looking on stream. Okay, do that, and then I can bookmark it and I circle back at the next stream for it. Okay, thank you for the 20, and yeah, thanks for letting me know. Just make sure to do that so I get notified of it and I can follow back up on it. Okay. But okay, so what was I saying? Yeah, I don't understand the strategy behind that event that they had. I'm sure there was some thought process behind it. I just don't understand it. That being said, he says very soon they'll showcase what they've done, but in very not Todd fashion, he is walking it back and tempering expectations. Like I said at the top, Todd doesn't tend to do that. Todd tends to say a lot of stuff. People get excited. They claim and assert 10 things that are not real. And conveniently, he just doesn't really respond to those. I remember with Starfield at launch, there were a bunch of people saying, oh, I bet you can fly on the planet's surface. For sure. You can fly from space down to the planet. We had that in No Man's Sky in 2016. I bet they have it. It was not in the game. That could have been something easily debunked, but it would lower the hype level. It would be a problem. Obviously, it ended up being one. So just didn't talk about it. So when the game came out, it was a big story that, oh, you're just loading into fish bowls. It was breaking news that was happening. And I think that is a trait of Todd that I think, needs to be addressed, because it's gotten him in more trouble than I think he would have otherwise been in. And so now seeing him tempering expectations, I think is good, because I've heard from people, not Todd, that saw this preview of what's coming and they said, yeah, it's not Starfield 2.0. This is not a Cyberpunk 2.0 level update. It's not reinventing the game to make people who didn't like it. It's going to be more Starfield, probably better Starfield, but it's still Starfield. If you thought Starfield was boring, it's still going to be boring.
Past hours beast in terms of Starfield for us, and we're really, really, happy with the results, and our audience is great.
Is that imminent? You're preparing, you're getting ready.
Wait, did I miss it?
And our audience is great. And we're really, really hours beast.
Yeah, so what he just mentioned is interesting. So we heard many stories when Starfield launched that it had really high average hour play counts, 40-hour average, crazy numbers. And if you don't know, apparently the main metric that Game Pass and performance on Game Pass is judged by is hours. Just like with Netflix, just like with YouTube, the main metric they care about is how much time are you spending on the platform. So the most valuable thing to Xbox is if you can create a game that has high hours played. Them having like a 10 out of 10 masterpiece game that's only an hour long isn't very valuable. Like, who cares? They need something that will keep you subscribed. You know, they need something that will keep you hooked. And that's what Starfield has been, according to Todd and according to the independent data that we have, is that it's been a Game Pass hours beast.
Such a big audience on the game. It's really like a Game Pass hours beast in terms of Starfield for us. And we're really, really, happy with the results, and our audience is great.
Which, to be fair, I think is
that imminent?
Like, the people that play Starfield play a lot of it.
You're preparing. You're getting ready to talk. How close to talking are we?
It's soonish. It is soonish. I don't want to spoil the day, but it's coming soon. Yeah.
And then
I'm guessing early March, they're gonna do a deep dive, and then they'll maybe bring it to PlayStation. It's been rumored to come to PlayStation in early April. Maybe they wait all the way till early April, but I do find it interesting that Todd's doing this interview today. You know, if he was launching it in April, why wouldn't he do this appearance at the end of March or early April? You know, I just find it interesting. Like, why now? You know,
I guess the next one for you to dodge is, do you feel like, is this going to put a bow on Starfield for you? For the team to then move on to all the other projects you're working on?
That's a good question. Like, the rumor and speculation and like some rumblings have been saying this will be the final leave it behind. We're done with Starfield, moving on to Elder Scrolls 6, full focus. That's a good question.
Yeah, look, we do have a lot of projects, and so I think balancing that with the size of our studio, we do have a lot of development partners also, but still we're relatively small, just over 500 people across everything.
Super tiny.
But that's the trick. Well, across Fallout,
I know.
and Starfield and the Elder Scrolls work. I think balancing that, what's important for a period of time, that's kind of a trick that we find ourselves in a lot. But no, we're doing more Starfield stuff coming up. We've been laying that out, and so it's something we see continuing. For a while. We also have all the creators. They're doing amazing stuff in the game. So I think working with them also kind of keeps really good content coming into the game. And we're going to be a part of that as well.
Yeah.
So they're not, he's at least saying they continue for a while. What degree that actually means, I think is where the detail, I mean, I think that's where the actual truth is, because my expectation is they're going to drop this. I don't think they're doing another annual expansion. Like, the rumor is that they're going to be, or the expectation is that they're going to bring it to PS5. They're going to have the second expansion, probably sell it as a brand new complete edition or Explore the Stars edition, and it's going to be a full $70, and it's going to come with both DLC and a bunch of in-game mod packs and Creation Club stuff. And then they're probably done. Because, like, is Microsoft really going to give them another $75 million to make another expansion, or another $20 million? 75 is a lot. Maybe like another 20 million or 15 million to make another expansion that everybody hates? Probably not. Like, why would they? Why would they? So I think it makes more sense that they do this. They're kind of done. When he says they continue doing stuff with it, he means maybe the occasional official mod where it's like an official skin or 7-minute quest line or something. They probably do that, but I think that you're going to see it go from 50 people working on Starfield down to like 5 pretty much overnight. That would be my guess. So he's not technically wrong, but I'm guessing the real truth is like a good bit more nuanced.
I think that's something that, for me is, as a Starfield sicko, as I keep saying, so impressive. As I think, as much as I have loved Fallout in the past, I was always on consoles. So the modding community, the creation community wasn't my thing for a long time. I know eventually, obviously, it came to consoles. But with Starfield having it out the gate so quickly, I've been shocked to see how much that has kept the game alive for me, of dropping in for these big editions, whether they be from Bethesda proper or whether they be from the community. And even going as far as it was 2 months ago, last month? I think it was last month, January, right? Time's a flat circle and a blur right now, where they did StarCon. Did you see this? Where they did like a little Starfield digital convention. It was on Zoom all day. People came together to talk about their creations and what they were doing and where they were going. I loved it. I had such a great time.
doesn't this just gotta show you there's like a whole universe out there you have no idea about, you know? Like they literally had a Starfield convention in January. You never know what people are doing in their own houses, do you? Like that's crazy, man. And here's the deal, okay? Insert meme and joke. Starfield sucks. This is so sad. Insert joke about that, okay? But like, here's the deal. I think it's cool if you like a game that a lot of people think is mid as fudge. I think it's cool that you can still get together and have a good time. That's why I find it so freaking hilarious that there's literally a no sodium subreddit. That's so funny to me. Like that's fun. That's cool. But I think that that's also, it's why it's really interesting that the tactic for Todd was to go to Greg because Greg represents a Starfield fan. Like he's saying, he still actively plays it a lot. He really liked it. And he even said this update they're bringing is going to be great for people like you, Greg, who really like the game. And if you bounced off of it, it probably isn't going to change that for you. Like their approach is not to win people over. Their approach is to just double down on the people they have, which I'm sure at some point they're doing the cost benefit analysis. They're like, does it make sense to put 50 million, 60 million, whatever it would take into overhauling Starfield to get it to the point where it convinces the people like Luke that it's worth playing, that it's really good? Is it worth that? Or can we do like only $1 million worth of work and get it to the point where the core audience is even more invested, have even more star cons, and continue buying paid mods, and we turn profit? Honestly, I think they make way more money doing it this way, which is probably why they're doing it. And I don't blame them for that. This is a business. Like, I get it. But I do just find it really interesting that they looked at it and just decided either they're totally content with how it is, or it just didn't make sense to put all that time and money into it to overhaul it. You know, it's very interesting to me.
Yeah, look, our community there is amazing. Our creators and modders who have been with us for so long, we love it. And I honestly still think it's early days for us. We're always trying to find new ways to support that community. I think the content is, you know, absolutely incredible, but we have a ways to go in terms of making it easier for them, putting it in front of everybody, saying, hey, try this out. You know, with our older games and creations of Fallout 4, you know, we still have issues when we update the game. It breaks mods. And so we see all that. So we still feel like, even though we've been doing this type of thing for several decades, that we're still early in what that looks like for everybody.
So
This is the one thing where like I really struggled to like be nice, I think is the word. Like Bethesda's handling of updates to their established games is unacceptable. It should be unacceptable that they can launch an update for a game that's 10 years old, completely break it. Like literally VATS did not work. You could not use VATS. It would say that you had like a 100% hit chance of a character behind a wall. Like it was broken. A core gameplay mechanic that's just broken. It would be like if the spell system in Baldur's Gate 3 was broken with a patch. Big deal, okay? Big deal. And it took them 19 months to update it and fix it. And how did they fix it? They literally Control-Z'd the improvements they brought. Like, it's so unacceptably insane that I can't really be nice about. Like, again, Todd's a legend of the industry. He's made some incredible games, but as the head of a studio, how is that something we just shrug off? Like, I would expect, even for Greg, like, as a friend of Todd, I would expect him to be like, can we just talk about that real quick? Can we just, like, real quick ask, like, what are we doing? Like, you know, why did that take so long? Can you help the audience understand why it took 19 months to fix a totally busted version of your game that people wanted to play because of the show that was really good. How does that happen? How do you not expedite that somehow? Is that something with funding? Is that an organizational issue? What do you need from the community? Like, help us understand literally how that happens. I don't think we're going to hear that question, though.
Coming from that last statement to the general future of Bethesda games, right? You know, you make this game, you make this type of game, you make this thing. Do you see that changing? I think the way you listen to this show, the way we talk about Bethesda games, open world RPGs in general, you know, expanded out for the video game world, you hear so much about, well, the Bethesda engine, and then me talking about like, yo, Bethesda makes Bethesda games, and so it's silly for us to show up and think you're going to get something different. But as we see the success of Baldur's Gate 3 and all the choices and consequences there, as we see people continue to push it and get nerdy with it, I think of the Outer Worlds 2 and the way they did perks and stuff like this.
At Kyle Parkhurst 1720 donated $10 through Super Chat. Two things can be true at once. It's okay to like something a lot of people don't like.
True.
But you're also partly the reason we get so many low-quality games. IMO people need to raise their standard.
Thank you, Kyle, for the 10. I do think so. So I think with that, you could break it up even more, and you could say, you know, you're saying that's why we as a community, the gaming community, get so many low quality games. But you could break it down even more and be like, yeah, we got a game we didn't like. They got a game that was good enough. So they're happy. Greg's happy with Starfield. I was thoroughly disappointed by Starfield, as were many people, I think. But that's also what Greg is asking here is like, I'm sorry, I'm genuinely not trying to do this, but I do feel like every time I freeze the video, I just catch him in the most unfortunate freeze frame. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to. It just happens, okay? It just happens. Every one of Todd's freeze frames looks like it could be, the insert cover of a book he wrote about being a chiropractor. You know, he just got that vibe, like he'd call his book Popping for You or something like that, you know? All of it just pops. All sorts of stuff. His stuff looks like a novel, you know, but I feel bad. I'm doing Greg dirty. Anyway. But let's hear what Todd has to say.
Do you guys batten down the hatches and you're committed to your engine and this is what we're making and this is how it's going to be? Or are you letting things come in, influence, and do you see that changing as everything evolves?
Yeah, so basically, are you doubling down on what you're doing, or are you letting other games like Baldur's Gate influence what you do and change the type of game you're trying to make?
I mean, I think if you look at our games, we've sort of always evolved. We do have a certain style that we like and our fans like that we want to get better and better at. I think in some ways, in many ways, Fallout 76 and Starfield are a little bit of a creative detour from kind of that classic Elder Scrolls Fallout, you know, a Skyrim or a Fallout 3 or a Fallout 4, Oblivion, where you're exploring a world in a certain way. And, you know, as we come back to Elder Scrolls 6 that we're doing now, you know, we're coming back to that kind of classic style that we've missed, that we know really, really well. You talked about, you know, tech and things like that. We spent the last...
Okay, well, I'll let him talk about that in a second. His comment about being a big Redditor is making a lot of sense. Like, the more and more he talks, the more I'm like, okay, yeah, no, this is checking out, you know, this is checking out. Because it's just... I think if you're on the no sodium Starfield subreddit, maybe there is an honest perception that Starfield was truly innovative. I think for a lot of people, they feel, myself included, that Bethesda's been like regressing, especially when it comes to the quality of the writing. Maybe not regressing, because that implies that they're going back to what they did before, because what they did before was better. What I mean is like they're degrading in terms of quality. Like specifically the writing, the way that they actually design the worlds, design quests, it's getting worse, I feel. And I think a lot of people would agree with that. Maybe if you just go to the one subreddit that agrees with you, you have a different perception. But I don't know how you could think that like for Bethesda, I guess the procedural tech was innovative, but compared to what other studios are doing, it's nowhere near what they're doing. You know, I don't know.
You know, several years bringing Creation Engine 2, which powers Starfield, up to Creation Engine 3. That's
Oh my God, it's happening. Oh my God, it's happening. Okay, so previously it was understood that the phrasing was Elder Scrolls 6 will run on the Creation Engine that ran Starfield. It will run on Creation Engine 2. Todd is saying that they are bringing it up to Creation Engine 3. And you know how that works? This unfortunately like really broke some people's brains. It was really unfortunate that some people just bought into the hype so much when they saw this. But I remember when Starfield was coming, there were people who were saying, well, I think that a lot of the tech they're saying is going to be there is actually going to be groundbreaking, and it's going to be really good, and this is not going to have bugs and be broken like most Bethesda games because it's the Creation Engine 2. It's the second one. So it's going to be good because they've overhauled the engine. When in reality, all they did was just write a 2 next to it and add some bells and whistles. And what they're going to do with the Elder Scrolls 6 is literally that. And dude, there's going to be so many people screaming that no, this time it's different. It's a new engine. It's the Creation Engine 3. Well, I feel like if you zoom in, you can actually you can still see remnants of the 2 underneath it. I think it's still Creation Engine. It's just got like a new number next to it. No, totally new, totally overhauled. No, like for real, I can see the 2 underneath the 3. It's the same engine. Nope, totally new. That's literally what's going to happen. It happened with Starfield. It's going to happen again. I thought that they were just going to stick to Creation Engine 2 and be like, okay, we're just going to focus on some improvements. We're not going to act like it's totally new thing. But with this, no, it's going to happen again. Here we go.
It's going to power Elder Scrolls 6 and beyond. And, you know, obviously we do all the rendering things. We're really happy with the new stuff that we're doing, but also kind of world systems loading, how we bring things into the world.
I bet. You hear what he's doing?
But also kind of world systems loading.
A lot of loading. Loading confirmed. Elder Scrolls 6. Lock it in, fam.
How we bring things into the world, how we get that detail close to the camera kind of immediately. And so, but it's still...
I don't know what any of that means. How do we get the detail close to the camera immediately at what? I don't know what any of that means. Okay.
You know, we have a style of game that we really, really like that I think people expect from us.
Yes. Sure. This is true. Yes.
There's a lot of innovation to be done there still, so that when
I agree.
Step into a world, you feel like you're experiencing it really for the first time, a game like that.
Sure.
And I think, you know, we're happy with where it's headed right now. That's what I could say.
Okay. I will say, I agree. Bethesda makes Bethesda games. There's not really anything like it. And that's why, at least in part, Starfield fell so flat for so many people, is that it was like the worst parts of a Bethesda game concentrated. And then all the good parts of Bethesda game, they like intentionally cut out. The handcrafted world, the easy lose yourself exploration, all that's cut out for procedural crap. So there are like the archetype of a Bethesda game is indeed something people know and love. Absolutely. And people do expect that, which is why they didn't like Starfield. But I do agree with him that that's what they want. And it seems to be, he's insinuating that they will be returning to the older approach, which he said they know and love, and that they can innovate on that. So if he's describing that they're going to structure this just like a Skyrim and do it that way and approach it that way and just try to iterate and improve on the Skyrim formula, I'm much more into that than if they were like, yeah, we're going to take the Starfield formula instead of the Skyrim formula. We're going to take the Starfield formula and we're going to refine that into the Elder Scrolls 6. Then I'd be upset. But the fact that he's saying, no, we're going to actually be going back to the old school approach, to the Starfield or Skyrim approach, that works for me much better. I'm glad to hear that. That's a thumbs up.
Okay. In that, I mean, you brought it up. You said the Elder Scrolls 6. So, I mean, like, how is that going? Because it's been, let me check my calendar, 7 years.
Since the announcement?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think everybody knows that why we announced it that way then. Yeah, it's not my preference. My preference is all.
I don't think they do know, Todd. It's not been confirmed. I've been saying for years, 7 years at this point, that the reason they announced it in 2018 was because they were trying to build up their portfolio because they needed to sell the company, and they sold to Xbox later, but they were announcing everything to put everything on the table for negotiations with Xbox. And I think that's pretty well demonstrated at this point, but that's never been confirmed. And anytime people have asked, why did you announce it so early? He's like, well, it just, at the time it seemed right. So I don't think it's been confirmed.
Always you hear nothing, and then one day the game is out. Like there's an announcement
Sure.
and the game is out. Like that's my perfect scenario. That, you know, that can't always be the case. And at that time, he wanted to signal to people, because it's the obvious question when you announce a 76, are you still going to be doing single player games?
Sure.
So you announce a Starfield.
Sure.
The next question is, well, what about Elder Scrolls 6? So that really was, and even then, look, we know where the game is set. We know some things we're doing. Just hey, this is going to be happening. And so, look, like I said, it's going well. We're happy with it. It's going to be a while yet. We're happy with where we pushed the technology and how the game is coming together. You know, we're able to play it. We've just we're about to pass a big milestone internally. The majority of the studio is on the game and some of our partners. So, it's weird.
And partners, get ready for leaks, fam. Get ready for leaks. Did you know that like 90% of all game industry leaks come from like two people that work at one of these contractors? They work at one of these like Virtuos game type places that work on a little bit. One of them does work for Virtuos, but they work like on a bunch of different games for a bunch of different studios. So they see a ton of stuff that happens. And that's where most of the leaks come from. It's very interesting. But I think that we will probably be seeing leaks relatively soon, and he's going to talk about that later. But I think that, you know, it would have been such a fascinating shift if they had not announced it. Can you imagine if they had not announced it back in 2018 and it still was not announced today? Like, how would that have shifted the dynamic? How would that have shifted everything? Like, we would know that they're working on Elder Scrolls 6, but Todd would be doing these interviews being like, yeah, we're really excited to share what's coming next. That's it. That's it. That's all. Yeah, it would be so fascinating. Well, yes, Luke went back to part-time janitorial work so he can leak all those studios. Well, there was a leak years ago, I think like 2021, of a guy in a Rockstar studio, and somebody left their computer on, and there was a build of GTA 6 running, very, very early build, running on the computer. And he took a little picture on his cell phone covertly while like cleaning the floors and everything. You know, no joke. Janitors have leaked stuff before when somebody forgets to turn their computer off before leaving for the day. It does happen. It's kind of crazy. I remember when I worked in commercial real estate, we were told you have to put all of your paperwork locked in a cabinet, lock it, take your key with you, because the janitorial staff comes in and you never know. There were horror stories from the 80s of like brokers from other firms paying the cleaning lady to steal documents and leads to give to them so they could go get the deal. Like actual crazy stuff. That's a story for a separate time though. Anyway, continuing.
Hey, like, I'm not here to like sell anything or talk. Really, it's really a catch-up conversation.
Yeah.
So I feel bad because people want information. I appreciate that, but I'm much more, you know, I like to think long-term about when you really see the game and hear about it, you know, focusing on that moment and kind of, you know, not today or the, you know, the time in between.
Well, I assure you, I doubt very few people showed up to the Kind of Funny Games cast expecting you to show footage today. So don't worry, you're in a safe spot.
You just did. There you go. That was it.
You know, that talk to me a little inside the studio game dev stuff, jumping off of the Elder Scrolls 6, but not obviously giving me stuff you're not going to give me. You talk about the majority of the studio being on it, right? So that's
I'm sorry. We'll let him talk. I love the idea, Dr. Sujiro, I think. I love the idea of like a hypothetical situation where Todd comes on stream and we're like, hey guys, be nice. We have a guest. And then I'm like, let me catch up on some comments. I'm going to read some comments for you and you can just respond. Okay. Real quick. Todd is a hobbit and a loser and a lizard. What do you have to say to that? This is why we can't have nice things, okay? This is why.
250 plus people who are working on that.
I will say, we've never seen his feet. Could he be a hobbit? It's not impossible. I'm just asking questions.
How do you keep that straight? You know what I mean? How do you, as a studio, as a team, as multiple teams, as multiple project managers, bosses, organize something of that magnitude?
Good question.
Oh yeah, it's tricky, but we do have production directors on every project and creative directors. I tend to spend most of my time on the new things, so like most of my time is on Elder Scrolls 6.
Sure, that's good.
And then, you know, the other projects, we have great leaders sort of across the studio. You think about Elder Scrolls, you know, the majority of the folks who made Skyrim are actually still here. And the studio is an amazing place where we have people that have been here decades, but we also have a lot of new talent that's coming to the studio with skills they've, you know, picked up at other studios, or they've grew up as fans of our games and now they're professionals. So I think the studio makeup is in a really great spot. But yeah, it's a juggling act. You know, Fallout 76 is so popular.
Yeah.
We have another big season coming out. It's like our 65th or 66th update to that game.
I did my homework. 66. Don't worry, of course. Season 20.
At SK under T-Dome donated $10 through Super Chat. Has he mentioned when I am getting my Canvas L bag yet?
It's in the mail. It's just really slow mail. So who knows when it'll get there. Thank you for the 10. Okay. The Starfield, the Fallout 76 stuff is always just, it sucks the soul out of my brain. I just can't handle it. They have a huge section on Fallout 76 here. I think I'm gonna skip it because it's just not really relevant to what we want to talk about, and then we'll probably skip forward to the Fallout games discussion and talk about that. But yeah, it's just I get it. It's got a lot of players. There are people that like it, but dude, I don't think it's the core audience.
At Some Rapper Rhyme 1234 donated $49.99 through
Jesus,
Super Chat.
thank you. Very generous.
Thanks for making videos and streaming. They help distract me from all the drama in my life and help me relax. I'm 26. My dad died a year ago, and I want you to know how much you help people.
Oh, damn it, it cut off. I'm 26. My dad died a year ago, and I want you to know how much you help people by just existing and doing what you do. Oh, thank you so much, my friend. I'm so sorry to hear that. Hopefully you're doing well and you're taking care of yourself. Losing a loved one is never, ever easy. Just make sure you take time to talk to people, stay close to the ones around you. But I'm glad that I could put a smile on your face, even if it's for whatever the hell this is. So I appreciate you, my friend. Much love to Some Rapper Rhyme. Okay, everybody in chat, much love to Some Rapper Rhyme. Hope you're having a good one, my friend. Hope you're having a good one. Appreciate you being here. Vet Gamer, thank you also for that. I hope they upgrade their writing team. I wouldn't get my hopes up. wouldn't get my hopes up.
At Condemned 4 Honor donated $10 through Super Chat. Do you think he'll announce a new Skyrim port? That's what we're really here for.
It's true. You remember the one they did for the Alexa? I forgot I have one in here. And it's trying to rebel. It's trying to talk to me. but you never know. You never know. No, going back to the writer thing, I wouldn't expect. I would not expect it. I think it's the same crew. And I mean, honestly, again, what is he supposed to say here? Of course, like, what's he supposed to say? The team here is really, it's not great. And we've lost a lot of talent and the new guys don't have any idea what they're doing. Like, of course he's going to be like, the team's great. Everything's wonderful. Like, of course, you know, it's why I've seen people analyze this, and I'll see like big fanboy type guys go and be like, well, they said that the studio's never been better, that it's functionally really, really good. I'm like, yeah. What can you imagine a world where he doesn't say that? Imagine how much of an a-hole he'd have to be like, things suck here, man. Like, it would never happen, you know? It's just crazy. The people will use that as like a point of defense, you know? It's wild.
Or the backwoods coming out March 3rd. I'm prepped. I'm ready.
With Bigfoot. There you go. All right. Well,
what's the point of these puff piece interviews? Here's the thing. Puff piece interviews, I think there actually is a place for them. This may surprise you, okay? Not from journalists. I think an actual journalist should always be like hard hitting. I'm not a journalist and I would never pretend to be. I literally have a Todd Howard cardboard cutout and a candle. I'm not a serious person, okay?
Redhead Jack donated $10 through Super
Just
Chat.
not.
Hey Alexa, play Skyrim.
Yeah, I don't know if that still works. I'm kind of scared to try it. I don't know if that works still. Maybe it does. I don't know. Thank you for the 10. I'll have to try it later. But like, if I were to do an interview, I think you know that like if I talk to a dev, I'll probably be a little bit more like direct with my questions and a little more substantive. At least I try to be. But in the case, like a situation like this, where I think they're friends and they're just chatting and it happens to be a podcast, I think there's a place for that. And for more of a puff piece situation, I think there's a place for that. And I think it's useful because it's disarming. And so you can end up in situations where maybe Todd is just chatting with a buddy of his and he says something maybe he wouldn't have said if he was in like PR mode. You know, like if he's in PR mode, I don't think he talks about that November event at all. I think if he's in PR mode, I don't think he talks about Creation Engine 3 at all. But when he's hanging out with a friend, I think it's fine. I think, you know, loosen up a little bit. So I think there is a place for them. For sure.
plug that.
We'll get there.
But that, look, when you have a big live service game in that way, it does take a lot of time and headspace from the studio, but great team on that, great partners on that. So that's in a good spot.
I think this is also important to stress. This is part of like a broader industry-wide drama that's going on right now, which is that the single-player gaming crew doesn't just not care for live service, they hate live service. You've probably noticed that. The reaction that we've seen from like Titanfall fans to Highguard when they use that nostalgia to try and seed excitement for a live service game, or the Horizon game where it's like, yeah, you like the Horizon Forbidden West and Horizon Zero Dawn? Here's a live service game that looks nothing like it. Here you go. You're going to like it because it's got the same title. And the gamers hate it and react very negatively. Why is that? I think it's just frankly because we've seen for this whole generation, years and years wasted on live service games that those single player game players don't care about, or not interested in, and would typically be apathetic. They would typically just hand wave it away, be like, I don't really care, whatever, it's not for me. But they've noticed that those games represent 5 to 6 years of them not getting anything that they like. And shocker, they hate that. They really do. When we see Horizon Hunters Gathering, you may be like, it's just not for me. But it also represents 5 to 6 years of getting no new Horizon mainline entry. So it's not just, well, it's not for you. Just sit on the sidelines, ignore it. No, it literally is them taking away the thing that you could have gotten and replacing it with something you don't care for, you know? And that is, understandably, people get ticked by it, you know, they get frustrated by it. So I think that sentiment has also seeped into Bethesda discussions and Fallout discussions, especially because people look at Fallout 76 and they don't just see this live service game. They see that this is the Fallout focus and this is where Bethesda's putting energy in. And Todd's statements and stuff where he's like, well, we don't have Fallout 5 coming anytime soon, but we have Fallout 76. It pisses those players off because it feels like a dismissal of what they actually like. And it's, again, that sort of entitled attitude we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks, where it's these publishers being like, no, you're going to like it. And you cannot tell gamers suck it up and expect good results. It will not work out. You know? It just doesn't. It just doesn't. Charlotte, thank you for the 5. When do you think we get the actual trailer for Elder Scrolls 6? Game Awards this year or Game Awards 2027 maybe? Or Shadow Drop trailer? I think it's farther away than people think. I think the soonest it comes is 2028. I think we don't see anything until then. I think it's like November 2028. That's my guess. So I think we don't see anything until that summer. I know that makes me like one of the more
At Faraway Python donated
skepticals,
$9.99 through Super Chat.
That's what I think.
Can't agree more. I was obsessed as D with Skyrim at 14 and I'll see 30 before its sequel.
Literally.
Insane.
How insane is
ESO
that?
hasn't clicked with me.
Yeah, because it's made for a different type of gamer. It's a different gameplay loop. It's a different reward system. It's a different update schedule. It's a different writing schedule. Like, everything is different. And yet they're like, well, but it's got the same name on the box. There's cat people in it too.
At Typhlosion 4223 donated $10 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
I think, praise be to R.E. Todd is just a salesman now for the billion-dollar company and he is just pushing the same stuff his bosses want. I think he's so far away from development.
I think there's two options. Todd could be at this point mainly just like executive producer. I think that there's an argument to be made that his role now is much more executive producer. There's some of the developer interviews that have been done from like Kiwi Talks, for example. Great channel. Seriously, look up on YouTube. Kiwi Talks does a bunch of interviews with game devs. And he's done a bunch with Bethesda developers who have since left. And they all share the idea that Todd has gotten less and less and less involved, and he's tried to put new people in his position to take over the workload. He doesn't want to be the bottleneck anymore. He wants to just kind of take on a broad decision-making position. So I don't think, I don't think he's going in, walking in cubicles 7 days a week, it's like 5 days a week, being like, hey, we're going to change this. Can you do that? That animation looks weird. Can we adjust that? This boss, we need to upscale. He needs to be twice as tall. Yeah. Re-rig him, do whatever you got to do. But yeah, I don't think he's doing that kind of micromanaging stuff anymore. I think he's big picture. He has a weekly meeting with directors and that's what they're doing. I think that's what they're doing. So that's one route, is that he's just executive producer now. The other side is that he's only actively involved in the stuff he's passionate about. And he's passionate about the Fallout TV show, and he's passionate about Elder Scrolls, and that's about it. Maybe Fallout 76 as well, with how much he talks about it. Either way, his role has significantly changed. I think that is very fair. I think that is certainly true. His role is not the same as it was 10 years ago. Almost certainly. And jackets. Yeah. He loves his jackets like I love my candles. Sure does. Sure does. And watches, actually. He likes watches too.
Yeah, it's tricky, but we've gotten better at it over the years and overlapping our projects and bringing, key folks onto projects that really need them at the right time.
We've gotten better at overlapping our projects. When is Fallout 5 expected to come out again? Like 2034? 2035? Ish? Even if that ish is like 3 years. That's still not
You
a
jump
lot.
off of there, that 76 conversation. Something I think that's interesting since we last talked, right? And obviously we've all been through the journey of Bethesda in general. Like you said, you announced 76, but you also announced Elder Scrolls 6. So you say, we're still doing what we know. Now that we're so far on the 76 train, and obviously we've been up, down, around curves all through, blah, blah. Do you, and does the studio feel like, hey, this is such a great addition to the portfolio? Because I think about when, the jumping platform allegiance is here. Naughty Dog pulled the plug on the Last of Us multiplayer thing. And their statement was like, hey, we started down this train of making a multiplayer game where we realized it was going to take us so far away from making the single player games we're known for. It seems like for all the bumps along the way, you guys have found a way to do that, but maintain and still make the solo stuff, make this thing, and try to satisfy two very different audiences.
Yeah, look, it was incredibly difficult. It was difficult to get it to launch, and it didn't launch great. And then it was even harder to sort of, pull it out of that. And then when it starts getting really popular again, maintain it. We're really fortunate. Look, the community around that game is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And, there were so many people that wanted to play a game like that. Granted, not every Fallout fan, we realize that,
sure,
given the history of it and the single player nature of it. But so many people wanted to play a game like that. They kind of, stuck with us. And in many respects, it's the game that we've done I'm the most proud of, because it's so hard to do and then maintain as a relevant game. And I think if you look across the industry, the amount of games like it that there have been or come and gone, and here's 76 still there, with big numbers and doing well and being relevant. And it's a lot of energy in the studio. Look, people love it. The team on it, led by John Rush, they just do.
I'm sorry. It is mind melting to me to think that you could have the studio and the guy behind games like Morrowind, Oblivion, Fallout 3, which literally took Fallout from an isometric CRPG into first person / third person, like adventure RPG, and then comes out with Skyrim. And then to say Fallout 76 is the game you're most proud of is just crazy to me. I can understand if you're like, I'm proud of the team for not giving up on it and for building it into what it is today, considering how it started. That makes sense. But that's not what he said. He said, that's the game I'm most proud of. It's why I've said a lot, guys. The Bethesda of 2010, 2011, and the Bethesda of 2026 are just different. It's just not the same. It's just fundamentally different. It's just different. And I think this is starting to explain a lot of his love for Fallout 76. Now, they talk a ton about Fallout 76. You can see here, they talk a ton about it. And then they talk about the show. I love the Fallout TV show. Walton Goggins is fantastic. I actually wanted to specifically go and watch Righteous Gemstones. Real quick, have any of you guys watched Righteous Gemstones? Have any of you watched it? If you have, put in chat. I want to know, and I'll check it out. Keon says right now Skyrim has more players on Steam than Fallout 76. Really? That's crazy. Yes, it's great. Oh, it's so good. It's an amazing show. Okay, that's good, because I've had my eye on it, and so I'm okay. That confirms I need to do it. Okay, that confirms it. Okay, let's fast forward to the section where he talks about Fallout games and hear what he had to say there. Okay. Hear what that is.
Games. Todd, when are we getting another one of those? Because you got it. The Oblivion remaster was a huge success.
Fallout 76 drops in a few weeks.
It drops on March 3rd. Season 24 and the Backwoods. We're aware.
Look, for us, that's a new. Yeah.
I know.
When it comes to development, for us, that's a new thing.
Is there a chip on the shoulder of the
again, I
Fallout
wish I could
76
talk
team
about
about that? Is there a chip on the shoulder of the Fallout every time they see it Fallout 5 win Fallout 1 and they're like, we are on update 66 of Fallout 76. Go give it a shot.
I wouldn't say a chip. We just want people to recognize how much work we're doing on Fallout that we're putting
Fair.
out.
That's fair.
You know, many times a year. Just we're really proud of it, and there's a great audience there. So, but it's understandable.
I mean, I say it till I'm red in the face. I mean, it's just my face is tired. I think it's been said before, but the audiences are just different. People who want Fallout 5 are not playing Fallout 76. Maybe, I mean, some of them I'm sure have popped in, but I think the core audience that wants Fallout 5 and are specifically asking, hey, where is that? You telling them, go play Fallout 76 is not going to win them over.
When these big franchises people love, whether it's Elder Scrolls, Fallout in particular, and that people want brand new experiences. We 1,000% get it. And let's just say, look, we're working on stuff. There's a time to announce that and talk about it, but we have a lot of irons in the fire right now on all of that.
Yeah.
Meatloaf69 on Twitch says, let's be real, it's because of the Fallout TV show. Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. I think that's a big part of it, to be fair. But I think I also just remembered that Twitch, like, I gotta adjust something. Twitch really doesn't like if you merge chats. They really don't like that. So let me do this because I didn't mean to. And then Twitch gave me a flag and we're like, you can't do that. You can't do that. So might be Twitch. I might have to just turn off chat until I fix that. Sorry. You guys can see chats, but I just remembered that they did that, and they're gonna freak out if I merge chat. Twitch is the only one that cares. Twitch, they don't want you to merge their chat with YouTube's chat. It's just kind of weird. Anyway, with this though, I do think the Fallout show is part of the reason why they're doing it this way. I do think that that's true. I think that there's a little more nuance to it. Like Todd, I think that's a high growth sector for them is probably how it would be described. I think that that's a big part of it. For them, it's a big opportunity to grow the fandom and to continue seeing growth. A lot of their other stuff is just kind of stagnant until they have a big update. And so this represents like one of the few areas that they can actually overhaul, you know? I think that that's a part of it. For sure. Let me do this. And see if that works. That works pretty well. Okay. Sort of. Until I can fix it with Twitch, just so Twitch doesn't lose their minds. Sorry, Twitch viewers, but Twitch policies are oppressive. Continuing on.
Give me that update. Last time you were here, you were very cryptic. Said, "Oh, we have multiple Fallout projects at work for multiple." Give me a number. How many numbers we got? You know, Fallout 5, of course, that's happening. Multiple.
Yeah, the multiple is still the number. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the Oblivion, surprise remaster launch, that was a big hit, right?
It was huge, actually.
People love that. That seems like a great thing to do with all sorts of Fallout games.
Yeah, I would say I'm softened on the whole remaster thing. There was a lot of conversation about, hey, should we remaster some of our games? You look at your catalog, you say, what's the right thing to do? We felt Oblivion was the right one. I am this is only for like the stuff we've made here that I've made.
Sure.
I'm sort of anti-remake. I respect the other ones out there, but I think part of the age of a game is part of it's part of what it is, like its personality and what it represented when it came out. And so as we approached Oblivion, I definitely wanted it to be a remaster, but kind of the absolute best version of that you can imagine. And so the original game, it was important to us that the original game was running. It was like, okay, well, imagine you had patched that game many times for like many years. You had patched it. What would you have done? And so we sort of took that approach with sprinting and some other things, and then graphically, let's just make it look modern, but still in the style it was, right? So we're not gonna redesign the armor to be something new in the Elder Scrolls. It's like that version of it looking the way you kind of remember, but up-res. So, I mean, that was our approach to that game, and fortunately, it was, you know, it was really, you know, bigger than we imagined. Another thing, I mentioned Fallout Season 2, but another thing where the sort of dartboard of outcomes, when you're touching a kind of, you know, game with the legacy of like Oblivion, most of the outcomes in the dartboard are bad, right? You can mess with what it was for people. And so we talked about that, like, hey, here's the sliver that we need to hit that kind of, you know, not just acknowledges the legacy, but in many ways enhances it. And so really proud of the work everyone did on it. And so we're very happy with it. And, you know, clearly given the success of that remaster, we think about others, but we'll see what happens.
I mean, obviously, elephant in the room. They're looking at doing the Fallout 3 remaster remake and looking at doing a Fallout New Vegas one. What's interesting, though, is that the discussion has largely been on Fallout 3, but the understanding has been that Fallout 3 remake, remaster, whatever, is being done by Bethesda internally. That was a distinction made by one leaker a while back. I don't remember who specifically, so it could have changed. But the reason that's important to understand as a distinction is because Virtuos mainly did the Oblivion remake, remaster, whatever they called it. So for Bethesda to be the ones doing the Fallout 3 remaster, I don't think they have experts on Unreal Engine in-house. So I'm not sure that's who's doing it, you know? Like, it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out, because it could be the case that the Fallout 3 remaster is just kind of like the Skyrim Anniversary Edition. It basically just has some visual mods built in. It could be that. Or they could go and do the Unreal Engine wrapper over top of it, just like they did with the Oblivion remaster. But leaks from like a year or two ago suggested that's not going to happen, and they're not doing it the same way. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they approach it, you know, how they handle it. But let's see. He's now going to talk about shadow drops and leaks, and then we'll talk real quick about the AI section and discuss that.
Fair enough. I'll give it to you. I'll let that go. Fine.
All right.
You know, maybe I'll play a Fallout one day. Maybe Ben will be 20. He'll be 20 years old when he plays it. Let's move on then. Since you're not going to confirm anything about my Fallout games or remasters and how they can just shadow drop at any time and for the rest of time, every time.
I do like shadow drops. I will say that.
I know you do.
That is my preferred method. And so anything said before a shadow drop or that moment, I don't know if I like the phrase shadow drop, before that moment where you learn about it, anything beforehand or leaks or everything, it just takes away from that moment. And I think that moment is really, really special. And so that's what we try to focus on.
All right. I do agree that moment is special, and that's a moment that a lot of us don't have anymore. Everything leaks nowadays, and everything is distributed 15 ways to Sunday. So I agree that moment is magical and special. I agree. It's also just practical in terms of business. I have told Ubisoft for like 2 years at this point, it is better for my bottom line, for my business, if they do a long marketing cycle for the Black Flag remake. It is better for my business if I can look at a trailer and then look at a gameplay reveal and a gameplay preview and then do the developer interview deep dive. Like, that's better for my business, is if I can break all that down, tons of content, easy money, right? However, for Ubisoft, having a runway like that gives more time for people to find problems with your stuff. I think if they had not shadow dropped the Oblivion remaster, they would have put it out there. People would have looked at it. They would have asked, how does this run though? And then we start to find out about performance requirements. And then Digital Foundry does an analysis and it's like, it's actually not that great. It's got big problems. All of a sudden, people are doubting it, questioning whether they should buy it. Things you just don't need to bother with if you're a company trying to sell a product, you know? If you just shadow drop it, everybody gets excited, goes out and buys it. Easy money. Easy peasy. You know, I think it's better for the consumer to be more informed if something has a long runway and you find out as much about it as possible. That's better for the consumer. What's better for the company is to just shadow drop it. It also has the added benefit of just being fun, which you could also maybe put in the consumer basket, that's like a magical moment that you don't really have anymore. We had somebody in chat yesterday who was asking, you know, should studios basically stop doing review codes and just release the game when it releases, and that's that. Because presumably they didn't like how like preview coverage could lead to situations where people find stuff out about the game that they would have liked to find out for themselves. But I think that, you know, as with everything, there's pros and cons to it.
For real, then let's stop and have a conversation about that, because I do want perspective on that. As you know, in terms of video game talkers, there's a hierarchy, right? There's Jeff Keighley, and then there's me. And so I get inside information all the time. And one of those DICE conversations you and I were having, you were like, we're remastering Oblivion. It's going to be a shadow drop. We're just going to do this thing, and it'll just be out and be great. Blah. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. And then like 2 months later or whatever, however long, stuff started leaking or whatever. When you wake up and you look at your phone or your email and you see that first time, you're just like, motherfucker, or is it just like, well, did you think you were going to make it to had you run the scenarios and you're like, you know, there's like a 90% certainty at some point something's going to leak.
This I am interested in is like, what's their outlook on leaks? Because reportedly, when Fallout 4 leaked, it was a script for auditions. It was a small script, but it had a phrase in it that was war never changes. And everybody knows what that phrase is from. Even in 2012 or 2013, when that script leaked, everybody knew what that was, right? So that script leaked from like a casting agent, and all of a sudden Fallout 4 is confirmed. Everybody knows it's happening now. And reportedly, Todd was livid. Not happy. So I'm interested in what he's going to say.
Asset gets uploaded. I can't be upset about it. Or did you not see that coming and you were super mad?
Well, we've been through so many leaks. In the moment, you're always...
I'm sorry. I don't know why. I was like, what would Todd even be like? Really mad. And for some reason, in my mind's eye, I imagine Todd storming out of one of those bakeries that's built into a tree that elves work at, like the Keebler elves. And I imagined him swinging the door open, really angry. It was like, who leaked it? And then he sat down at the step in front of his tree bakery and put massive wooden clogs on his feet. And then just like a really loud clog sound as he walked down trying to find who leaked it. I had like a very vivid vision of this happening while I'm just staring at Todd describing the leak situations. I'm sorry. You could not survive in my brain. You couldn't, okay? You couldn't. Now, officially, I need fan art in the Discord of Todd as a Keebler elf wearing clogs. Did I call him a hobbit? No, I called him an elf that makes delicious cookies.
Pissed off. Because it kind of, you know, they ruin a moment that the team's been working on, that you want to be able to present what you're doing in the right way. And it's not to keep it secret. It's because you want to make that game, that moment special for the fans, special for the studio. And sometimes those leaks, they ruin it some, or they might misinterpret a detail that everybody kind of latches onto.
Which is true. There's been plenty of cases, like you may recall with The Last of Us Part 2, there were leaks that came out, a couple of big leaks, you know. But one of the leaks was that Abby was a trans character who you would play the whole game with, and that you would kill Joel, and then you'd be playing as Abby the whole game, running away from Ellie. And none of that was true, except for the but people latched onto that. To this day, I still see people in the comment section whenever we talk about The Last of Us Part 2 who refer to like Abby as a trans character, or say that, yeah, it's just ridiculous you had to play as her the whole game. There's still people who latched onto that one statement 6 years ago, and think that that's true because they got one sliver and that's all they ever heard, and that's what they run with. To this day, I still in my comment section see that, still to this day. It's crazy. So he is right that leaks can often be misconstrued and twisted and include half-truths that aren't actually indicative of what the experience is going to be. So it is true that leaks can ruin a lot. Like, they're fun, they're interesting, but I think in a perfect world, nothing leaks and we all get that moment. I'm sure dude, do you remember that moment? Probably the most clear-cut example of this that I can think of, and I'm sure there's 1,000 examples, but this is the one I can think of, is God of War 2016. It was this moment that I don't know if we'll ever replicate it, but it was a moment unlike anything else when people realized what was happening. Like, specifically, he steps out of the shadows and just listen to the energy in the room.
Todd, yes?
Yes, sir.
Then show me what you know. Is that a question?
Instant hyperventilation. Instantly. It's crazy. But that was a moment in time we don't really get anymore. Like, we just don't. At least we haven't had it in a long time. That moment of genuine shock and surprise. You just don't really see it anymore. Even really exciting stuff. Yeah, Highguard, I guess. Even really exciting stuff like the Larian game with that statue. That was a sliver of it. We were like, what the hell is this statue in the desert? What is this for? People are trying to compare artwork of that to things they have in art books from a decade ago to see if there's similarities. All this crazy stuff. And it ended up, people figured it out and it leaked beforehand, unfortunately. But I think that and maybe it's a remnant, of E3 dying. Maybe it's also that, like, they try to announce games closer to the release date now, so you don't have these big moments where you can have something before retailers have it. That's the problem with trying to do a shadow drop, is that all of those retailers, they can't have any leaks. Like, everything has to be so locked down. It's just not that easy to do. So yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky, no doubt. But God of War 2018 was revealed in 2016. The Last of Us Part 2, I believe, was revealed in 2016 as well. And that allowed for those big moments. Sorry, Todd. That allowed for those big moments because the game was still so far off that they didn't have to worry about any sort of like surprise, like, oh no, Best Buy leaked it or something, because it was still so far out, Anyway, check Discord for Keebler Elf Todd. It's not great looking, but still funny. Oh my God.
Interesting.
That being said, like, that moment of sort of being annoyed with it goes by pretty fast, because I've also found historically, and this is true for other people, I point it out all the time.
Sorry, I realized I didn't change the screen. Professional streamer. It's because I was pulling this up. Mr. Mo made it. pretty good. What are you talking about? It's not very good. That's pretty good. That's I don't know. Next time, could you Photoshop one? Could you make a fake one? You know? Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Actual good use of AI slop. Literally, this is what it was designed for. I think it's an actual picture just with his face like plastered onto, because I can still see his ears. But that is pretty good. That gets the job done. Sure does. Continuing.
I don't think a leak has ever affected the success of a game. And there have been some really bad ones. But at the end of the day, I can't think of any that really affected the success of that game when it came out. So we sort of take it for what it is. You do your best. I try not to be draconian internally. Some places will really keep things under lock and key. We share really freely in the studio, so everybody gets to see everything. And there's a trust level, like our ability to share stuff even internally across our studio and the company and stuff is our ability to share it is everybody's ability to keep it secret. So we've actually had very few internal ones, but given the complexity and the number of partners and everything involved, you know, it's natural that you'll get some. And I think you gotta kind of roll with it.
Fair. Yeah, I think that's very fair. And I think to his point, like, are there any that really affected? You can even point to like the Last of Us Part 2 leak, which was probably the most devastating of any that I can think of. And that one, I mean, it sold crazy well and ended up being the most awarded game in history at that point. I think Baldur's Gate 3 beat it out, or maybe it was Elden Ring beat it out before Baldur's Gate, but it won the most awards of any game of the year awards of any game in history at that point. Like it did not, ultimately the game did very, very well, despite what you might see on Twitter, which is interesting, but yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Top of the show, you mentioned we're hot off of DICE. We're coming in. DICE was last.
Oh yeah, DICE. So DICE is a place where a lot of developers and industry guys get together. So they talk about that a little. If you want to hear those thoughts, definitely go to the full podcast. Again, we're skipping through chunks of this because I want you to still be able to go over to Kind of Funny Gamescast, give them some love, give them some flowers for landing the big T-Dog interview. But let's hear what he has to say about AI. Todd, is ChatGPT going to write the next Elder Scrolls? Probably end up being better, but sorry.
This is a hot button issue. I saw, you got quoted by Eurogamer talking about it being a tool, right? It'll never replace people, but it's a tool that's here. Are you seeing other folks use it the same way or have that same opinion of it, or they think it's a fad, or where are we at with AI from your side?
Well, it's certainly not a fad. I think the AI answer now becomes ask me in 6 months, right? It changes so much what you're seeing out there. For us, we're being like incredibly cautious, kind of viewing it as a tool, like an analyst. Look at the data in our games. We're not using it to generate anything.
Sure.
I think there's such an element of artistic intention that is essential to what we do and others do. And if you look across things outside of AI, like sort of go back 100, like this idea of craftsmen, I still think craftsmen and that handcrafted human intention is what makes things special.
Sure.
And that's where we want to be. But you can't ignore it in terms of it's coming, it's changing every few months. There's a new model. Particularly in the tech side with code or productivity or other things. And I would just say we're looking at that stuff. We're not like fully ignoring it, because where it can help us sort of get better at some, big data tasks that just take us a lot of time that we just wish were done now.
Sure.
So we can move on to the creative stuff. That's kind of where our heads are. But I think it's still very, very early days.
Yeah.
I think that is very fair. And that, I think, is a reasonable application of AI tools, is in like data analytics. The problem is it hallucinates data, which is, there's been stories of, there's one story of a guy that worked at a financial like marketing consultancy firm or something, and he was using AI tools to summarize data and spreadsheets and share that with their CFO. And then it turns out that it was hallucinating a ton of data that wasn't there. And so they were making big multi-million-dollar business decisions based on just totally made up numbers that the AI was just spitting out, which was a bit of an oopsie. But using it to maybe analyze when it's not doing that, analyze code or analyze data, reformatting data and stuff, that I think that's a totally valid and fair use for it. I think where people, are not thrilled about it is if it's being used to replace the artistic elements of game development, which is where it could become a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been an interesting back and forth, and I feel like the conversation gets so lost because when you say AI now, people think Gen AI, and they think it's writing the quest, it's making the environment, it's doing the thing. Whereas I'd like to think, and maybe I'm naive and I'm not at studios, but it feels like the people I talk to are talking about what you're doing of, well, let's coalesce data. Let's do this thing that would take hours of boring, busy work through an Excel spreadsheet versus not generating and making the game. But then you do hear people wanting to make the game with it, and then you're like, I don't know what the hell's happening anymore.
It's just the term is so broadly used. It's like RPG. It doesn't really mean anything anymore. Like the AI term is being used to mean like AI generated videos that are interactive, and also generative AI through like Midjourney used as concept art, and then other people just mean it as an analytical tool. Other people mean, like, it's just so broad. It's hard to figure out what people are actually talking about, which is why you have to be kind of pedantic and specific.
Yeah, we just have so much data in our games, and so much data that even we classically generate, with our own procedural systems or long-term play analysis, and using those systems to like help us with that or validate some things that we're thinking, I think has a lot of use, today. But again, this is something that's changing really rapidly.
Sure.
And we'll see where it goes.
We'll see where Microsoft forces us to go. Yeah. I think generated art in final games should not be covered by IP protection. I would agree with that. Especially, well, I guess I should clarify. If it's trained on public data, then absolutely yes. Yes. It gets tricky in terms of IP protection if it's trained on their own data sets that they own, because then it is just coalesced versions of their own data. But I think broad strokes, yes, I agree. That makes perfect sense to me. So there's a few other things. They talk about Vince Impella a little bit. They talk about Todd's career and the speed round questions and everything to just run through stuff. But overall, there's a lot in here. It's very interesting. I recommend you check out the full thing. And it's interesting that Todd was wanting to go and talk about this at this point. Because they don't have anything on the immediate docket, so it's surprising to see that he's chatting it up. But I think it's probably because they're getting close and they do have the Starfield update soon. But for me, the most surprising takeaway is, number one, hearing that the game he's most proud of is Fallout 76. That's crazy. Two, hearing him walk it back and say it's not Starfield 2.0. That vibes with what I said back in December after talking to people who tried this or not tried it. Nobody tried it, to be clear. At the event, like a producer and Todd was there, but like the team played it and demonstrated something, but nobody that was at the event played it. Greg didn't play it. Juicehead didn't play it. But even Todd is saying it isn't a Cyberpunk 2.0. It's not Starfield 2.0. It is more Starfield. It's just better Starfield, but it's still Starfield. Okay. I think they're going to like cover up load screens. They're going to have a new system for traveling between points of interest and stuff like that. I think that's a big piece of it too. But either way, I mean, the core tenets of everything that we've seen and heard still hold true. They still are really, really bad about communicating. The last big update for Starfield was March 6th. Of 2025, when they said we have a lot of exciting stuff to share with you this year. Oops. So we just, they've got to do something sometime soon. And it sounds interesting because they're not trying to broaden the tent, expand the tent. They're just trying to make the tent more comfortable. So the people that like Starfield, they're going to make it nicer for them. And the people that are outside the tent can stay out there. You know, that's it. That's it. So we'll see what happens. My guess is from the way Todd's talking about it, they might try to shadow drop it. It might be that they wait and then in March at some point, they need to do it early March because late March is stacked. But if they can shadow drop it early March, I think that would be the best bet. That'd be the best bet. Let's see. He said in some ways, Fallout 76 is the game he's most proud of. He said the same about Skyrim and Starfield as well. I think he's saying there's things he learned or they learned making Fallout 76 values. Not it's his favorite. No, I don't think it's his favorite. Like to my ear, like saying that something you're most proud of something, it's like as an achievement, it's the most remarkable achievement, which I think does make more sense than if he was saying it's like his favorite game. I don't think he'd say that, but yeah, it's very interesting. It's very interesting. I'm sure if I look back, that you're probably right that there's little qualifiers on his statements that would tweak it. But let's see. Let me catch up on these super chats real quick, just so everybody gets theirs read. Any Elder Scrolls 6 in the convo? Yes, indeed, my friend, said Eric with a 2. Thank you, my friend. Anxious Pigeon, thank you for that super chat. Hey, Luke, whatever happened to the Blade game made by Bethesda? I need it. To be clear, that was being made, and it was being published by Bethesda Softworks, but it was being made by Arcane. And the answer is, where did it go? I don't know. Nobody knows. It's disappeared. Who knows? Who knows? We'll see at some point. Probably, maybe, possibly. Yeah. Do you think, oh wait, no, I did read that one. Highlander, thank you for that membership as well. Again, thank you, son of a cinephile, for the 20. That was very generous, and I hope you're doing well, my friend. I hope you're doing well. And let's see. Kyle, again, thank you for that one. Shiro, thank you for that too. Todd is to Greg what Kojima is to Jeff. A lover. Jesus. I think the thing is with some of these guys, it's the secret sauce of Kind of Funny, which is that like Kind of Funny has been around not that long, but Kind of Funny is made up of a bunch of guys that are from like old school IGN and Rooster Teeth, and like I think it's mainly IGN people, but I'm not overly familiar with it. But it's a lot of former IGN professionals that moved over there. So people like Greg have been in the industry for like 20 years. So they know Todd since before Todd was famous and big. So they have those relationships from like decades of knowing these people and going to industry events with them. And so that's why it kind of feels like its own bubble. You know, because the newer generation of games media is not in that bubble. And so they're looking inside being like, what do you mean you're getting coffee with him regularly? You know, it's very interesting. It's very interesting. Let's see. Skirbird, thank you for the 5. I hate to be that guy. No, I don't. But Todd has a Redditor's voice. The mocking voice you use for your hardcore Redditors, it all makes sense. I do think when you start to hear about people and you're like, how are they this disconnected from their community or from the fan base? And then you hear that, oh, they're going into an echo chamber. It starts to line up. It starts to make sense. Just the Wholeness, thank you. Oh, I Just the Whole Ass Mess. What a name. Thank you for the 5. I'd say boycott, but boycott what? They operate in defiance of what greedy companies should be doing. Just like, bilk me, Todd, don't make me beg. I think it's, yeah, they're just going to keep doing their thing. The Amir, think of the 2, 16 times the detail. 3 equals 48 times the detail. Oh, it's just a common multiple. I see. Cameron, thank you for the 5. Posted the Highguard 10-cent article in Discord server. In a Discord server, a member dismissed it as random site that produces or provides no actual information. Oops. Well, it ended up being real. SK Under the Dome, thank you for the 10. Has he mentioned when I'm getting my canvas bag? Oh, I did read that one. Yes, that's very funny. Some rapper rhyme. Thank you, my friend, for that. Incredibly generous. Hope you're doing well. Stay strong, brother. Vet Gamer Brocephus, I think. I can't read. Thank you for the 5. I hope they upgrade their writing team. I don't think they're going to. Condemned for horror. Oh, I can't read. Condemned for Honor. I read that one about the Skyrim port. Redhead Jack, thank you for that. 10 about playing Skyrim on the Alexa. Charlotte, thank you for the 5. When do you think we actually get the trailer for Elder Scrolls 6? Like I said, I think it's summer of 2028. I'm not expecting it anytime soon. If it comes sooner, I'll be happy. I'm not expecting it anytime soon. Pharaoh Python, I think. Thank you for the 10. Can't agree more. I was obsessed with Skyrim at 14. I'll be 30 before its sequel. Yes, indeed. Typhoon. Todd is a salesman for $1 billion company. Just pushes the same stuff that his bosses want. I think he's still passionate about games. I just think he's too busy. I think he's too busy. I think. Spooferman, thank you for the 5. Did you see the story that Japanese kids can't connect to Final Fantasy /DQ due to long dev cycles? How does Bethesda expect to get new players for the Elder Scrolls 6? Elder Scrolls Online. There you go. And they have a couple of mobile games too. Chad, is God of War Egypt delayed into Oblivion or not? I don't think it's delayed into Oblivion. I just think that it's a ways off. I think it's a PS6 title. I think we get Cory Barlog's game announced at some point this year. And then I think we get that probably next year or 2028. And then I think we get God of War 2028, 2029, somewhere in there. That's my expectation. Vet Gamer Bro Cephas, thank you, or Bo Cephas, thank you for the 5. I turned 55 this year. I like Skyrim, but more of a Fallout fan. I will be 70 by the time Fallout 5 rolls out. Bro. Yeah, that's rough. It's just, that's the thing is, it's like, if you're like, we're just going to do 2 games between them. It's like, yeah, but when each one takes 7 years, dude, it adds up quick. It adds up real quick. Like, it's crazy. Gordon, thank you for the 5. Could Rockstar save the industry if they released GTA 6 for $60? I feel like that would be hilarious. Imagine how embarrassing for the $80 pushers. I think it would actually unironically be really, really, really healthy for the industry. Like, I think that would be really good. I think that's what frankly needs to happen, is there needs to be an adjustment down from 70 back to 60 for like 99% of games. I think that's where the push needs to go. I think it'd be better for everybody. And I hope they do it, because I think it would alleviate so much pressure. I think gamers would respond by being like much less stingy, quote unquote, with their money. I think they'd be much more willing to try things, because what we've seen is, like I showed you guys, the most insane data point I've accidentally come across in recent years was this data point for Mafia 3. I talk about it regularly because it's so crazy. Mafia 3 launched with really rough reviews, like 6 out of 10s, 62 out of 100 for Metacritic on PC. Like, not good. D-, almost F level scores. It shipped 4.5 million units in its first week. That doesn't happen now. If a game gets bad reviews, it flops. And I think it's because gamers are like, they have to be way more careful with their money. I think if something is like $60, they might be more willing to try it. Even if it got from their favorite reviewer like a 7 out of 10, they'd still be willing to try it if it's only 60. But if something's 70 plus tax, plus maybe they're going to try to sell you microtransactions and all this other crap, I don't think it works. You know, I don't think it works. So I think if they were to walk back down the ladder and go to like 60, you'd actually see more engagement.
At Notlockmeyer 3809 donated $9.99 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
Hey Luke, I've been an employee at Best Buy for 4 years working in Geek Squad. You've given me hope that someday I might escape, so for that, here's my thanks.
Thank you, my friend. That 10 is very generous, and I appreciate it. Never feel the need to give me money. I worked at Best Buy. I understand the retail struggle, and I respect the hell out of you for grinding it out. People who work retail, fast food, I mean, you guys are the real champs, okay? Mad respect Mad respect. Appreciate you, my friend. And you can do it. You can do it. Just don't get stagnant, you know? Never, ever be complacent. That's how you die. That's how you die. Don't be complacent. Always strive for more. If I can leave one impact on you, it's to never, ever be complacent. Thank you, MJ Fiddle, for the sub over on Twitch. Thank you. Also, Fitzer, thank you for the sub over on Twitch as well. Thank you, my friend. Almost caught up on these real quick. Typhlosion, thank you for the 5. These interviews are not for us gamers. It's for businessmen / women who don't know anything while we hype shallow and lame games. Think of the company. I think so. I don't think this interview was for people that are like really, really critical or cautious, and like I don't think that is what this was for. This is the fun thing. He wanted to chat with a friend, and that's that. I think that's the main goal, is like it's just chatting and having a good time. Not everything is like a super hard hit piece, or not hit piece. Not everything is a hard hitting, you know, journalistic breakdown of everything. And to his credit, I don't think that Greg is framing himself as a journalist anymore. At least I hope he's not, but I don't think he would say that he's a journalist. I think he described himself in this interview as a content creator. He said, I and other content creators went to this event. So I think that even he would say that he's not a journalist, and that's okay. If you're a journalist, it raises the bar for how you need to conduct yourself, in my view. If you're a content creator, the bar lowers. I still expect you to not just like go glug glug 3000, but you know, my hope would be that there's at least some critical thought and follow-up questions and stuff. And there were a couple of good questions in there, but it was not trying to be like a hard-hitting thing, you know. Yeah, he said he's a content creator / influencer now. Yeah, and in that case, the bar is different. The bar is different. Like if you're just known as the hype guy, okay, as long as people know that, like, cool. The problem is when like you present yourself as a level-headed critic, but then it turns out that you're just being like a total, you know, fanboy. Then there's a problem, you know. It all depends on what you're trying to do versus what you're actually doing, you know. Let's see. Thank you again, Mr. Mo, for making the Todd Howard Keebler elf image. Appreciate you. Bernardo, thank you for that super chat. Hey, Luke, is it weird that I watch this channel a lot more than your mains? Hugs from Brazil. Thank you, my friend. No, I don't think so. When we started this live channel, I remember talking to Jacob and saying, who knows, maybe one day this will be at a point where people are watching the live channel and the quote unquote main channel is like the side thing that they occasionally pop over to, but they're mainly watching the live channel. I think that that's become very common at this point. I think a lot of people, at least that are here, this is kind of their main hub for a lot of gaming discourse and stuff. And I appreciate the heck out of it, but yeah, it definitely blew up a lot more than I ever expected it to, for sure. And then Scrap Dog, thank you for the 2. It's sad we'll never get another Splinter Cell game. Or if we do, it's like going to be a mobile game or something. But something like that. Something like that. Charlotte, no, but being a nurse can be really rough. Love what I do some days. You question your decisions to choose this field. 7 years a nurse. Mad respect, Charlotte. Glad you're here, but mad respect for doing what is oftentimes a selfless job. I have a sister who worked as an EMT, so like in the ambulance going to calls and stuff. And I've got family members that work as nurses as well. Some that have done like assisted living care and stuff. And so I know how tough it can be. So mad respect, my friend. You're a better person than I. I just sit here talking about games with candles and cardboard cutouts. What am I doing? What am I doing? Oh, somebody just shared this with me. Dark Side Flow. That's funny. YouTuber Luke Stevens Live as a DSP detractor brings up WWE champions and WWE Supercard while reacting to a clip from DSP's Evolve review. Hold on.
Balanced. Because of the hype and because of all the talk and it's the makers of Left 4 Dead, we're supposed to forgive that.
DSP put his phone down for 2 seconds. He's like, hold on, I gotta stop grinding champions or Supercard. I gotta talk about this. I think that's from yesterday. That's funny. Word spreads quick. That's funny. That's funny. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, fun little thing. Didn't see that coming, but there you go. Typhlosion, thank you for the 5. I wish the hate for movie style games would chill out. I like deep dive stories in my game, great acting in it, but the last decade has been stinkers. Yeah. I mean, who knows? Maybe Marvel 1943 will be good if it ever comes out. Yeah, if it ever comes out. But yeah, you painted my gun blow. Dude, it's so good. It's so good. Anyway, yeah, that's so good. Now everybody's like reacting to the walking it back. Todd Howard shuts down Starfield 2.0 reboot and expects Starfield news soonish. That's funny. Tried to warn people, but here we are. But okay, fam. What I'm going to do is I'm going to call it there. Like I said, this was just a quick thing to go through that interview. Honestly, it's a good time. It was a vibe. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. It was a joy. I had a great time. Hopefully you had fun too while we rambled and talked about all of this. You guys are fantastic. I will be back. The plan is Friday to do kind of a regular stream. We'll start it earlier for people who can only attend earlier. So we'll start it earlier and go through that period. But I will be back soon. Okay. Much love. Make sure to subscribe and get notifications turned on and all that stuff. You've heard it 1,000 times before, but I appreciate the gosh darn heck out of you guys. Much love, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye.